Hello everyone, myself Anurag Mondal, Assistant Professor of EC Department. Welcome to the series of lecture on chemical instrumentation. That is one of the subject in second year, third semester of Chemical Engineering Department. Today's session, I will discuss about the choice of instrument for a specific application and the process variable. In this particular session, I will cover up these following contents. They are motivation, block diagram of an instrumentation system, then function of an instrument, then choice of an instrument selection criteria, then process variable, and at the end, I just conclude our session with some quiz. Now, first topic is the motivation. Why we just study today's session or today's topic. Our topic is the selection of an instrument. Everyone knows that in the process industry, various small processes are running in different areas. Each and every process need a instrument. Without instrument, we cannot run a process. So we need to be very choosy for choosing a particular instrument because our process having some different conditions, and depending upon that different conditions, there are different varieties of instrument and we need to choose which is the best one. Let me clear with an example. Here I just show you a level controlling unit. Here we have a vessel, and within that vessel we have the liquid, and we have to maintain or controlling the level with a predefined value. Now this level detector just detecting the level continuously, and it will provide an output to the PID controller. Now this PID controller is sending one controlling signal to the I2P converter, where the current is converted into pressure, and that pressure is moved to the final control element or the flow control valve, where the closing or opening of the valve just controlling the flow of liquid to the downstream process, and by this we can just maintain or controlling the level of this vessel. Now this level indicator doing the main work, it just continuously detecting the level, or it is the instrument mainly, or it is the sensors mainly. So to choose that particular why we required that choosing process, let me clear one thing. Whatever the liquid we have, the condition, there are various kind of liquid we have to maintain the level of any kind of that liquids. Maybe that liquid having some impurities, maybe that liquid is a transparent liquid. One way we can say that maybe the liquid is a flammable liquid. Okay, so there are various kind of liquids are there within this, maybe within this particular vessel. So we need to check which kind of liquid is there. Is the liquid is sticky or not? Means, for an example, in this vessel I just containing the flammable liquid. So we never use that kind of detector which uses the electrical signals, because we know whenever there is an electrical signal or electrical spark is there, then the flammable things become burnout. So we never proceed with a particular instrument or sensor that having some electrical component or electronic component. So we need to be careful about this thing. So we need to be choosy that if the liquid having some impurity, then we have to choose a level detector that which just detect the presence of the impurity. And with the help of that presence of the impurity, we can easily detect the level. So we have to choose that kind of instrument that just detect the impurity. So we need to be very choosy, and because of various kind of conditions, we need to choose a particular instrument. Let me show you another example. This is the temperature controlling unit. Now, what we will do here, within this fluid reservoir, we need to control the temperature. Now, here we just uses a temperature sensor, that is the RTD. Now, what RTD do? It just detect the temperature of the fluid reservoir continuously, and according to the temperature is just sending one signal to the temperature controller, where we just set the temperature that what we want with the temperature within this fluid reservoir. And according to the present temperature, the RTD will send some signal, and it will, that this controller will just finding out that whether that particular temperature is equivalent to the preset temperature or not. If not, then, and according to that according to that particular uh, uh, difference, that particular controller is sending some signal to the refrigeration system, which just control the temperature of the fluid input. Now, what is the value of temperature, or what is the range of the temperature we need to control over here, or we need to detect over here? That is dependent, and on the basis of that range we have to select the temperature sensor also, because there are various kind of temperature sensors are there. Now, why RTD is there? So obviously, whatever the temperature we need within the fluid reservoir, that should be within the range of RTD. That RTD can detect easily that particular temperature. If the temperature having some higher value, we need to maintain that higher value of temperature. Then that RTD should not be there. There is some different kind of temperature sensors. So we need to be choosy, or we need to choose that particular instrument depending on the process or depending on the application. So that's why today's session, in this session I am going to tell you that what are the criterias we have to keep it in mind before we choose a particular instrument for a particular process. Before that, we need to know the instrumentation system. What are the things the instrumentation system have? So for this, I just show you a block diagram. Here it is the block diagram. Now, in this block diagram, primary sensing element is the first block. What it will do? It just sensing the quantity to be measured. Now, in the previous example, I'm just controlling the temperature of a reservoir. So the temperature is the measured quantity, and that measured quantity is measured by the RTD. So we can say the primary sensing element is nothing but the RTD. Now, what happened? Now, RTD is nothing but a resistance, and depending upon the temperature, the resistance value changes. But what happened basically, we never detect the resistance value. Whatever the signal we just transmit, on the basis of measured quantity, change of measured quantity, that is in terms of current or voltage. We never send the change in resistance. So we need to convert that change in resistance into the current or voltage. That is why the variable conversion unit is there. And after converting the resistance into some voltage or current, we need to maintain the range of the voltage or current, because all the ranges of the current never be transmitted, or all the range of the voltage never be transmitted. So the variable manipulation unit should be there to manipulate the output or converting voltage or current into a range, maintain that range. After that, after maintaining that range, we have to transmit that particular signal by the data transmission element. And after transmit that element or data, we need to control that particular data. We need to apply some control application on that particular data. So that is why at the end, we have the data presentation and controlling. And by the controlling, we can control a total process. So this is the total block diagram or the process of a instrumentation system. First, primary sensing element, just that it just sensing or measured the presence of the measured quantity, then move to the variable conversion unit to convert the change of the particular element into voltage or current. Then after changing into voltage or current, we need to be maintain that voltage or current within a specific range. That is why the variable manipulation unit is there. Then after getting that range, we need to transmit with the help of that data transmission element. And after transmission, we need to apply the controlling operation over that particular data with the help of this data presentation and controlling unit. That is all about the block diagram of an instrumentation system. Now, what is the function of an instrument? First function, indicating function. Now, there is various kind of instruments are there. Some instrument having some display unit, it just provide the measured quantity value then and then into the display unit. So the indicating function should be present in the instrument. Next, recording function. After getting the value, it should be recorded for the further application or the controlling purpose. So the recording function must be there within the instrument. Signal processing, as in the previous slide, I just tell you, after converting the measured quantity into the voltage or current form, we need to process that voltage or current in the range, in a particular range. So the signal processing unit should be there, that whether that particular voltage or current within that desirable range or not, we need to process on the signal. And at the end, we have the controlling purpose. In the block diagram of the last slide, I have shown you the last block, that is the controlling block. And within that controlling block, we have the provision to apply some controlling operation on the data. So these are the four functions that instrument should contain or should maintain. Indicating function, then recording the data, then whatever the data it will record, it will just process that particular data or signal, and at the end the controlling of that particular data. Now comes to the choice of an instrument. As I written over here, a large number of specialized instruments have been developed to measure the variety of the process parameters. Okay, so as in the first slide, I have shown you that particular level controlling unit, and that particular level controlling unit, we have a level detector. So for detecting only the level, okay, we have various kind of instrument or a variety of instruments are there, and those instruments are based on different properties or different physical condition or different functionality. So there are large number of instruments are there. So they generally gives this large number of range of instrument generally gives a range of measurement accuracy, then sensitivity, very versatility in cost factor. Means this variety of instrument having a range of measuring accuracy, that some instrument having some higher accuracy, some instrument having some lower accuracy. Some instrument having higher sensitivity. What sensitivity means? That whenever the particular instrument sensing some input, then and then it produces the output. That how much, how fast that instrument work, that is the sensitivity. And that particular variety of instrument having the versatility in the cost factor. Some particular instrument or just I have taken the level controlling devices. So the level detecting device is having a range of cost, having a range of expenses. Okay, so some level detector having the low cost and some level of level detector having some very high cost factor. So various instrument mainly having these three varieties. Now for selecting the instrument, we have some criteria. First criteria, we can say identify all the operating cases. Means just we discussed that temperature controlling unit. So we have just discussed the level controlling unit, huh? The level controlling unit, within the vessel we just containing the liquid. Okay, so the liquid that the container contain, it having various kind of properties. Okay, and depending on the properties, all the operating conditions are there. Whether that particular liquid is flammable or not, there if there is a flammable liquid, then there is some different operating case. Or if that particular liquid having a sticky nature, then definitely that particular liquid having to maintain the level, we have to take some different operating case. So identify all the operating case should be there, and after identifying all the operating cases, then only we just identify which kind of instrument we have to use for detecting the level. Okay, so for an example, the level is sticky and I just taking a particular level detector which doesn't provide the accuracy, that much of accuracy for the sticky level, sticky liquid. So the process doesn't work in a proper way. So we have to identify all the operating cases. Second criteria is collect all the relevant process data for each of the operating cases. Okay, so what are the operating cases are there? We need to collect all the data. Ki whether that what are the value of that particular detector when a particular operating case will apply. We need to collect all the data, and basis on all the data, finally we can choose a particular instrument. Then environmental condition, as I have just discussed about this, that if some flammable liquid is there, we never proceed with some instrument that having some electrical nature. Okay, and if we use that electrical instrument or the sensor, then and then the total liquid becomes burnout. So we have to keep it in mind, this environmental condition. And at the end, durability, maintainability, and consistency of the performance. So on the various kind of operating condition, whether that particular instrument will provide the accuracy or not, that is also important, because a process is a very minute things, and if there is any changes or there is any error in the process, then all the operations become destroyed. Okay, whatever the output is there, that also become destroyed. So the selection criteria are the identify all the operating cases, then collecting the relevant data for each of the operating cases, then environmental condition, then durability, maintainability, and the consistency of the performance should be there. And these four are the main criteria over selecting a particular instrument. Uh, Durability and maintainability also a important thing, because uh, I just choose an instrument, okay, that will work properly for 5 days, and after 5 days it having some problem in its circuitry, then we never choose that kind of particular instrument. We need to choose a particular instrument that having some low maintainability, means that will sustain in a good condition for a longer period of time. We have to choose that kind of instruments. So the durability and maintainability is the another important factor. So these are the four criteria on the basis of which we need to choose the instrument. Next, process variable. Now, as I mentioned 2 points regarding this process variable, they are: instruments are used to monitor and control a process to keep the process within the correct limit. The parameter or the quantity that we wish to control at a correct limit is called the process variable. Let me describe or understand with the help of an process. Here again, the level controlling unit. Now what we are going to maintain? The level. Level is what? A quantity or parameter. Okay, on this particular parameter, we need the controlling operation, that we have some level transmitter that will check whether the level is in the particular, that will check the level continuously. Then it will provide some output to the level controller, where the main set point is there, and according to the output of the level transmitter, it will provide a controlling signal to the control valve. So what we just maintain, or what we take as a parameter, nothing but the level. So in the second point, I have clearly mentioned that the parameters or the quantity that we wish to control at the control correct limit is called the process variable. Means the liquid we need to control in a particular, in a correct limit. So the here in this process, we the level of the particular liquid is our process variable. So that's all about today's session regarding the choosing of an instrument for a particular application, then the process variable. So what are the outcomes of this session? We have know about the basic process of a instrumentation system by block diagram. The third slide, I think, I have shown you the block diagram, and each and every block diagram having some functionality. First, primary sensing element, then variable conversion element, then variable maintenance element, then we have the data transmission element, and at the end the data controlling element. Okay, then we just discuss about the function of an instrument. Function of an instrument having some four function. First is it should be it having the function of indication, that or detection, then it having some function of the recording, then it having some function of signal processing, and at the end that instrument should have the function of controlling. Then we have know about how to select an instrument and its criteria. So I have just tell you I have just told you that there are varieties of instrument, and those varieties of instrument having some different parameters. There are cost factor is there, sensitivity factor is there. Okay, then we move on to the criteria. That first criteria is, before choosing some instrument, we need to know all the operating process very carefully, all the operating cases very carefully. Okay, then we have to collect all the data regarding each and every operating cases. Okay, then we have to keep it in mind the environmental condition. Then at the end we have to keep it in mind the durability, maintainability, and the versatility. So these are the four criteria. On the basis of this criteria, we have to choose a particular instrument. Then at the end, we just go through the process variable definition. What is the process variable and its need of control? Means we need to control that process variable. Otherwise, our objective of a process that it doesn't be successful. So that's all about today's session outcome. Then quizzes. Four interesting questions are there. Just go through the question and make your own question. We will discuss in the next session or the live session about these quizzes. Those are: how can you choose a temperature sensor for measuring a temperature of a furnace? Then, is the process variable is constant? If no, then what happened in the process? Then, what is final control element? Is the final control element be pneumatic always? Then the fourth question is, what is the function of signal processing unit in the instrumentation system? So these are the quizzes. You just prepare your answer, and we have discussed about this answer in the live lectures. So that's all about today. Thank you.